Hey, what's up, Tennessee Valley? I'm FOX54 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman, and welcome to Feast and Forecast, a little video series where I attempt to combine two of my favorite things. Of course, one of my favorite things is the weather, but if you've been following my Facebook page long enough, Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman, you know that I really enjoy using my Traeger. I like to cook a lot of different things on my Traeger, from chicken quarters to pork butts. I've done a brisket or two. And then I've also done a couple of pork bellies, and that's what we're doing today. We're gonna do a pork belly. Now, this comes from Costco, so like everything from Costco, it's obnoxiously large. This one is just shy of 12 pounds. Now, I'm not gonna put the whole thing on the Traeger. This video series is gonna walk you through smoking pork belly burn ends. Now, I don't claim to be an expert. I certainly don't compete in barbecue competitions or anything like that. I just cook for my wife and friends, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And then through the course of the video, I have a couple of fun weather facts for you that I think you're really going to enjoy. So the first thing we're gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take this out of the wrapper, and then just to make it easier to work with, I'm gonna chop it in half, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we cut it in half, and now all we're gonna do is take the very large cut in half pork belly, and I'm just gonna cut it into strips. And then when I'm done cutting it into strips, I'm simply gonna cut it into cubes that are about 1 inch in size. Okay, all of our pork belly is cut up into 1 inch cubes. And I know what you're probably thinking. That's a lot of meat. We didn't see you cut it all up. You're right, you didn't. I honestly did not think you would want to watch me cut up 12 pounds of pork belly. Now that we've cut up the pork belly, we're going to season the pork belly. And honestly, I think pork belly is a little easier to work with, just simply based on its ease of seasoning. Let me show you what I mean. I took about half of them and put them into a bowl. Now I'm just gonna take a little bit of mustard, and I'm gonna put the mustard into the bowl. Now the mustard's really gonna act as just a binder. Everybody always freaks out about mustard. Honestly, you can use whatever you want, but everybody always freaks out about mustard. You're never gonna taste the mustard. It's just simply a binder. So we're just gonna put a generous helping in, and it would appear this is a brand new bottle of mustard. Now we have mustard. And we're just gonna squirt it in. And the fun part is that you just get to take your hands and kind of put them in there to kind of try and coat the pork belly as evenly as you can. I might have put a couple too many in here, but it's okay. It'll all get accomplished. So now we have our pork belly in these 1 inch cubes, and they're coated in mustard. I've got a couple of different seasonings that I'm gonna use just because I have 12 pounds of meat to work with. Using just one flavor didn't really seem like the greatest idea. So I've kind of got this, it's called Honey Hog Hot. It was on sale at Ace Hardware back in the spring, so I bought a bunch of different flavors. It's by Meat Church Barbecue. They don't pay me to say this or hold up the bottle. Like I said, it was on sale at Ace Hardware a couple of months ago. And so I bought a bunch of different flavors. So we're gonna use that. And then we're also going to use fajita seasoning. Why? Honestly, I don't know. I don't actually know if it's gonna taste good or not, but it seemed like a good flavor to use. So we're just gonna open this one up, and we're just gonna put a generous amount in here, and then we're going to mix it all in again. think that's about good. I'm going to do the same thing to the other bowl, but I'm going to use this seasoning this time. And when you come back, we'll probably head out to the Traeger. All of our pork belly is now seasoned and it's almost time to head to the Traeger. Now I'm just going to take it all out of the bowls and put it onto a cookie sheet. You know how when you were younger and you used to watch all those Food Network shows and everything was just kind of like magically done? They did like one or two individual items and then the rest of it was just done. That's this. There are a total of 3 trays of seasoned pork belly. Remember, we're working with 12 pounds from Costco. So I'm just going to put the entire tray, like the whole tray, onto the Traeger. The Traeger's sitting at 275 and we're going to leave it there for a couple of hours. Okay, so our pork belly burn ends have been on the Traeger for a couple of hours. I've moved outside just because the weather is really nice. Really haven't seen a whole lot of sunshine the day I'm filming this. So now we're going to go to the next step. We're going to take them off of our sheet pan and we're going to put them in one of these foil pans. I just got these from the grocery store. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Remember how I said this was kind of like Food Network and there'd just be different jump shots to different things and things would be magically done? Well, remember, I have 3 trays of this. So I'm saving you time and you're just kind of seeing the process as it's going along in a semi-edited fashion, of course. Edited fashion, of course. So all of our pork belly burn ends have been transferred from our sheet tray that they were on into a foil pan. At least one of the flavors. The other flavor is still on the Traeger. This is kind of the traditional barbecue flavor, not the one with the Mexican flavors. So now with the traditional barbecue flavored one, I'm just gonna take some brown sugar, sprinkle it on there, and then I'm also just gonna pour some barbecue sauce on top. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna mix it all in, and so it kind of gets that tacky flavor, and I'll put it back on the Traeger. The series is called Feast and Forecast. Let's talk about the forecast. And I kind of wanted to talk about the effects of cramming 80, 90, and 100,000 people inside a football stadium on the feels like temperature. Yes, the feels like temperature in late August, early September. We all know those kind of more miserable games can already be a problem. But then when you take 80, 90, and 100,000 people and put them into a football stadium, it tends to feel so much hotter, whether there's actually a heat index or not. And that's almost done by design. Science has a little bit to do with it. Let's take the construction materials used in a football stadium. It's typically a lot of steel and cement. Now you're taking on a lot of the characteristics of the urban heat island effect on a much smaller scale. In this case, a football stadium. Cement and steel, they absorb a lot of heat. Now add in 80, 90, or 100,000 football fans into Bryant-Denny, Jordan-Hare, or my favorite place, Davis-Wade Stadium. It only holds about 60,000 people, but it's the same concept. One, you're taking all of those people and putting them into a confined area that's going to generate a lot of body heat. That alone is going to make it feel hotter. But now we add on the air temperatures and the fact that you're inside a facility that naturally absorbs a lot of heat. So you take the air temperatures into account and you're going to begin to sweat. But you're with 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 of your closest friends. There's not a lot of breeze. There's not a lot of movement, right? When you're shoulder to shoulder with all of your friends. Now you can't evaporate that sweat because there's no breeze. You begin to sweat thanks to the temperatures, but because there's no breeze inside the stadium, you can't evaporate that sweat off your body, which is your body's natural way of cooling itself. Yes, you sweat, but then that sweat gets evaporated by some sort of a breeze. When you're not able to evaporate the sweat, well, then it begins to feel much hotter than it actually is. Maybe it hampers the experience a little bit, but this is a good reminder to stay hydrated, while enjoying your favorite football team. Roll Tide, War Eagle, or as I say, Hail State.